from Seattle. Pulls it in at the 13. And he's all the way up across the 40 and down at the 42. Great return. So the Steelers offense getting set for their first drive. Leading them out, boy, a modern-day legend. He's been here 18 seasons now in the NFL. Of course, he played at Harvard. One of the top 35 passers in NFL history, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Right to the air, Fitzpatrick. And that is caught on the right sideline, but out of bounds, says the line judge. The throw took him a little too far. It's second down. Ball on the 42 as they come up 2nd and 10. To throw is Fitzpatrick. Looking left side, and he's got a man. That's Myers. And he'll be brought down on the other side of midfield at the 43.
Of course, the catch was nice, but how about what happened after? Able to stay on his feet and gain all that additional yardage. So many of these slot guys, I think, have running back in their background.
On 1st and 10, Fitzpatrick. All right, rifles one, and that's going to be intercepted. Picked off by Jamal Adams. And the Seahawks are going to get the football here as he gets this up to the 38-yard line. They've got good starting field position as they come up here 1st and 10 at their 38. They'll start here with Jackson to about the 40-yard line.
Oh, that's a real nice job there by the defense in front. They just engaged and held their ground. But how about the guy who made the play? We often talk about whether they take a good first step or not. Many times you just don't take any step. Just get your feet moving, get your body going, and then once he made the read, he was able to make the play. Ran a perfect defense in this situation. Would have meant that there was an incompletion. They would have picked it off. Okay, so they gave up the completion. But I really enjoyed watching how the defense stayed in sync, stayed in great communication, and as he dragged across each zone, you see him pointing, communicating. There he is, and they passed him off to each defender. Ended up making a nice play, even though it was complete.
So nothing there that time, and maybe you need to look to the O-line. They weren't able to create any space.
No, they weren't, and you know as well as I do, as many offensive line coaches we've ever met, I think that'll be addressed loudly when those guys get to the sideline.
And they're usually loud and big. And this will be taken at the 13. And he'll have this past the 30 prior to going out of bounds. Good blocking there, nearly sprung him. As it is, it'll go as a 19-yard return. And out will come the offense as they take over. From the 32 now, here's 1st and 10. Trying to shake off the interception, he'll look to throw. And the defense has it covered. It's intercepted. Picked off by Tariq Carpenter. And the Seahawks are going to have the short field here as they'll take over right at the 50. Following the interception, here's Prescott. And just not enough on the throw there. Down around his feet and incomplete. An incomplete pass on 1st down. That leads to a 2nd and 10. Prescott now from the 50. And his throw here is incomplete.
Well, anytime he reads man coverage, I don't think it's going to be the only time he'll try and hit that route to the outside in this game. He'll test the perimeter, but that time, they were up to the challenge.
Pressure comes, and the Steelers take him down. It'll be a loss of 8 on the sack, and it's going to lead him to 4th down.
And this is what you've got to do against a quarterback like him. You've got to keep him in the pocket and not let him get to the perimeter, because once he gets outside, that's where he can really hurt you.
The Seahawks send out their punter as the drive goes backwards, so he's on to punt it away. This is taken at the 18. And into the end zone. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. Boy, he covered a lot of ground. 82 yards on the punt return. And the Steelers get the upper hand as they're on the board first here this afternoon. They get the stop defensively, force the punt. They score without their offense even stepping on the field.
I remember playing on special teams and teasing the guys on offense like, look, you don't even worry about it. You guys just hang out over there. We'll bring this one all the way back and get the points we need. In this case, they actually got that done.
Extra point by Gay is up and good. And it's now a 7-0 game. So after the punt return touchdown, let's see what their opponents can do with this kickoff. And it'll be a touchback as Tyler Lockett says, I'm not going to return this one. And Seattle now ready to march onto the field. They've shown precious little here offensively thus far as they try again with a first down now. Now Prescott. And that'll be incomplete.
Well, they certainly did a nice job there, picking him up out of the backfield and then running stride for stride with him. That's good coverage, and it led to an incompletion.
On 2nd and 10, Prescott. They set up the screen to Bo. That helps the completion percentage, but not much else, and now it's 3rd and 10. After 7-0 on EA Sports. Second quarter now from Seattle, and it is the Seahawks with the football here as they've got it with a 3rd down coming up. Prescott from the gun. And that will be incomplete.
I know this offense was expecting to do big things, but it certainly hasn't turned out that way, at least not through the first 3 drives. They're definitely going to have to put their heads together and start concocting some offense that'll move the ball downfield.
That's pulled in at the 32. A very good return there. Give him an even 20 yards. And this offense, they're going to have excellent field position. They take over with a 1st and 10 on the short side of the field. Play fake. It's Fitzpatrick. That's complete to DK Metcalf. And he'll go down, but not before getting this inside the 30. The end result, 21 yards. And defensively, they were in zone coverage there. Do you have to be a little careful? You're losing playing against a good quarterback like he is to not play too much zone?
Yeah, you have to be careful about how much time you're giving up. I think it's a good point you just brought up. So maybe if you still want to play zone, you go to a zone blitz scheme, and you can drop anyone out of your defensive front, defensive end, defensive tackle. It doesn't matter. You just exchange someone to bring more pressure towards the quarterback and still try and cover downfield.
2 minutes on the clock, second quarter, 7-0 ball game. Here's Fitzpatrick. And caught in the end zone. Touchdown, Steelers. Fred Biletnikoff. He scored on a punt return, and now he's scored through the air. And the Steelers go up by 2 touchdowns. Extra point by Gay is up and good. And it's now 14-0. The kickoff team on the field now as they will send this one away. From a yard or 2 deep, here comes a return. And he's only going to make it to the 13-yard line and no further. Here come the Seahawks now, set to take over on offense. Still in the first half, but this offense has struggled. Haven't really been able to get anything going, not only in the points category, but in the yards category. Let's see if they can do better here on this drive. And now the drive starts with a completion out to the right. And just not a ton of room to work with. He'll get it to the 15 for a gain of 2. Looking to throw again on 2nd down. Prescott. And a quick throw here that's complete. So just 3 yards on the completion there. And that'll bring us to a 3rd and 4. In search of 4 yards here to pick up the first down. Now Prescott. And this is going to be incomplete.
Well, based on what we've seen so far, I don't think you can even call this an off day anymore, partner, because this group we're watching, they are totally out of rhythm, trying to get their game plan up and running. That 0 on the scoreboard is glaring down at them with every incompletion.
Great blocking, nearly sprung him there. 28-yard return. And they will take over 1st and 10. From the 32 now, here's 1st and 10. Here's Fitzpatrick. And that throw behind his man, he missed him, incomplete.
But that's a defense coordinator's got to be happy with that result. They took away all options downfield and forced the incompletion.
To throw again on 2nd down, Fitzpatrick. Throwing the out route, incomplete. It's Myers. And they'll work it inside the 15-yard line before it's all said and done. The Steelers able to pick up 18 yards there. Here's a 1st and 10 at the 14-yard line. Now a handoff up the middle. Done. And he'll be taken down here at about the 11. Now the Steelers use the first of their 3 timeouts as they stop it with 19 seconds to go in half number 1. On play action, Fitzpatrick. That'll be incomplete as the clock will stop with 14 seconds remaining. That pass just a little bit off. It looked like maybe he tried to force it in there.
Game speed, always different, no matter what you do in practice. You can't simulate it, right? So your decision-making, everything has to be a little bit quicker. Sometimes it can throw you off until you adjust.
On 3rd down, Fitzpatrick. And that'll be incomplete with 11 seconds remaining now. Just what Seattle was hoping for. The coverage holds. And now 4th down.
The coverage was good, but I just wonder if they absolutely fooled the quarterback on that play. I think he was expecting something else. Ended up with nowhere to throw the football successfully.
So a capper there to a pretty good first half.
And I love the way that they put a chokehold on the clock and pretty much drained everything before they put the field goal on the board as they headed into the half.
So just 8 ticks remaining here in the first half as they'll kick this one away. Fields it right around the goal line. And they're going to start in a hole as he's brought down at the 11.
The Seahawks take over 1st and 10 at their own 11-yard line.
And with time running short here, they'll simply take a knee, and that should do it for half number 1. And that'll do it for the end of the 2nd quarter. This is the NFL, and it's on EA's. A happy sight for a lot of these fans. We're jumping right over halftime and getting back into the action. And we welcome you back now. Alongside Charles Davis, I'm Brandon Gaudin, getting set for quarter number 3 here. Taken in at the 3. And some good special teams coverage as they bring him down just outside of the 15. The Seahawk offense set to go to begin this 3rd quarter. We'll see, Charles, if they had a chance to hit the reset button at halftime. They have not scored. They're facing this big deficit. And if they're going to come back, it's going to have to start right now.
Yeah, and for them, it's not dwelling in the negative because, yes, they were totally ineffective in the first half. But we've seen many games that have flipped around in the second half. It all starts with this drive right here. They get something good going, put some points on the board, they begin to have hope.
And they weren't in zone coverage. They were in man, and each man did his job.
And that looked like vintage, old-school coverage, didn't it? Man coverage reminded me of an old Raiders team that had a Hall of Famer.
Under pressure, they got him again. It'll go as a loss of about 6, and now it brings up 3rd.
Now that's the way to start the second half. Back-to-back sacks. Whatever the halftime speech was, I hope they recorded it.
Now on 3rd and long, they'll look to throw. And this pass broken up. The contact well timed there, and now 4th down. The Seahawks send out their punter as he's on for the 5th time here today. Taking a couple yards shy of midfield. And into the end zone. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. He goes 52 yards on the punt return. And the Steelers are able to strike quickly to add on to their lead.
When you got a guy that fast back there to receive punts, that's a nightmare for the guy game planning, the special teams coach. But it's also a nightmare for the punter. Sometimes they get so nervous that they mishit the ball and kick it right to him.
Extra point by Gay is up and good. And the lead is now 24. So after surrendering the punt return for a score, let's see what they can do in turn on this kickoff. Taking it about the 1. And not a good return here at all as they'll be forced to start at the 12-yard line.
In this position, trying to get back into the game, teams are looking for a spark from their special teams. That's not what they got, though. They got a setback, and they have a long field to cover. They want to try and put points on the board.
They'll start out here with a jet sweep. 2 yards the loss, 2nd and 12.
Well, as a wideout, when you take that handoff and you're coming around the edge, you're expecting to see nothing but empty space in front of you. But if not...
Well, things can go south in a hurry, and that's exactly what we saw on that play with a loss. First play of the drive goes the wrong way. Here's 2nd and 12. Now a first carry for their fullback. And he tries to power forward, but he will not get back to the line of scrimmage. 2 yards the loss there. Now 3rd and 14. They need a crafty play call here. 14 yards is what they need to try to convert this thing. 3rd and long for Prescott. And the throw there going to be incomplete.
And those two just haven't been in sync thus far. They've done a nice job against him, but still, with his talent, you would expect them to have more completions to him in this game.
So from their own end zone here, this kicks away. Taking on the midfield logo. Muscling free near the 40. 35 yards that time on the punt. And Pittsburgh getting set to take the field. And now you've got the clock winding down here in the 3rd quarter. You're 3 scores to the good. What's your approach on this drive?
Too early to fully commit to playing the clock game. Yet at the same time, you're also not going pell-mell like you would in 2-minute offense. This is what NFL offenses call 4-minute football. Take the clock out of the game a little bit, wind it down, but at the same time, keep advancing the ball down the field.
And in for the Steelers touchdown. Jacoby Myers, 40 yards. And the Steelers will add on to their lead here in the final minute of the 3rd. Boy, another score. This lead gets even bigger. And, Charles, we haven't even hit the 4th quarter yet.
Well, forget the deficit, right? They're really not going to cut into that a heck of a lot. But how can they get out of here with some dignity? Can they get a stop or two? Can they make a play on offense themselves? Anything to start to feel better about what's happened to them here in this one.
Extra point by Gay is up and good. And the lead grows even larger here in the 3rd quarter. Set now to kick this one away, and off it goes. And they're going to mark that where it went out of bounds. So really good starting field position up past the 40-yard line. So now the possession will begin at the 35 after the errant kickoff.
Well, that's certainly one way to avoid a dangerous kick returner, I suppose. But you are giving up extra yardage, that's for sure. Because if you put it out of the end zone, they start at the 25. So at a minimum, you're giving up 10 yards to the offense.
Now a handoff inside. It's Jackson. And he is going to be stopped cold behind the line of scrimmage. Officially, it's a 1-yard loss. That's going to bring up 2nd and 11. On the give, this is their fullback. And trying to push forward, but he is going to be stuffed up in the backfield. He'll wind up losing 3. And now it's 3rd down. Prescott And the Steeler pressure too much here. He's going down. Jalen Smith in there to drop him for a 6-yard loss, and that will lead to 4th down. Before they can get the punt away, whistles as we've come back now in Seattle, Washington. And this is a blowout so far as we get set for the 4th quarter. A very one-sided affair. Now they go for it on 4th, but this one is going to wind up incomplete. Pete Carroll rolled the dice, but it didn't work out. And the Steelers, they're going to take over an excellent field position. So the defense has to stay out and get one more stop. They were able to do it, forcing the incompletion.
So on their record, that goes down as a successful play. Doesn't matter how they...
Under pressure, and he will go down. Sacked back at the 38. Ted Hendricks making his presence felt. Man, he got in there so quickly, Charles. What could the offense have done to adjust and account for that?
But what you're hoping is that you figure out and you see and get a clue that maybe there's going to be some pressure coming at you, and you change the blocking schemes. Maybe you go to max protection. The biggest ones, maybe you bring your running back in to try and keep you clean. But in that case, that didn't happen. Zero accountability, and a sack resulted.
Now a 2nd down throw for the end zone, but it's incomplete. Historically, this is such a tough, loud venue, but you can hear a pin drop right now. A lot of fans long gone, not used to seeing a lopsided score like this. And they'll wind up getting this one all the way down inside the 20. It's a gain of 22 as we tick towards the 2-minute warning. So the ball down to the 16 here for 1st and 10. First carry for Lynch, back against his old mates. And he couldn't quite get there. Tackled down at the 1. So the Steelers with the football as we get you reset. They've got it 1st and goal in a game that appears to have already been decided. Throwing here, Fitzpatrick. And give him another 6. It's caught for a touchdown, and the blowout continues. They seemingly just continue to score at will, and as great as it's been for the offense, you got to feel for that defense down there.
I love how you use the word will, because both teams came into the game with the will to win. But one team has obviously imposed its will on the other and broken them. Because what we're seeing right now, wow, that's a defense that's in tatters after what they faced in this ball game.
Here's the Steelers kick team as they'll boot this one away. This fielded right at the goal line. And he's only going to make it to the 13-yard line and no further. The Seahawks take back over. At this point, partner, things looking pretty bleak. They still haven't scored here in the 4th quarter, facing the big deficit. What silver linings, what can they look to do here offensively?
You know, it's funny, I talked about this with a coach in the offseason and kind of had this scenario, like what feels good to you and what feels good to your team. You're down big. You really have like one possession left, and you're trying to put points on the board that don't matter. But do they? And he told me they actually do matter. And in this situation, he's going to try and run the best offense he can run and have at least a little bit of confidence to take away from that game. So right now, they're going to try their best to get something up on the board and not get shut out.
Taken down for the 5th time this game. Multiple defenders there to get him. Looking to throw. Prescott. And that is incomplete.
At this point in the game, they've got to continue to try anything they can. They're still working at it, even though this one feels like a lost cause.
The punt team on now is from their end zone. They get it away. They'll look to set up his blockers. He's going to go out of bounds, but he takes this one down just shy of the 20. It's a nifty return of 29 yards. And the Steeler offense, they're set up nicely as they take over.
Here we go.
Fitzpatrick here to throw. And it's knocked away and incomplete.
Partner, in the sportsmanship handbook, there's something to be said for calling the dogs off in a blowout. But these defenders, they also know this is the NFL, and it's their job to stop them, whether they're in the game or they're down by a handful of touchdowns.
Now here's a look for the end zone, but that one's going to wind up incomplete.
Give them credit for excellent coverage, tight coverage. They're doing a lot of things that we talk about in basketball. They're causing disruptions in the passing game. And as long as that continues, it'll be tough for them to gain any momentum throwing the ball downfield.
And he will have a Steelers first down as they're able to get the third down conversion.
Most of their damage has been done through the air. I mean, they've rung the bell 3 times with passing touchdowns. But guess what? Ground game has now been neglected. Nice little burst right there.
And they are going to score again. Yet another touchdown as they just add to their totals. Well, Charles, just impressive in all 3 phases. Offense, defense, special teams have really done their job. And here the offense doing its part yet again with another score in the 4th quarter.
I know it seems like something we shouldn't do because the scoreboard does tell it all. But let's set it aside for a moment. This game was absolutely memorable with how they played it. Really terrific effort, really well executed. Congratulations to them.
From a couple yards deep, he'll bring it out of the end zone. And not a great return here. He'll make it back only to the 10-yard line. And out now come the Seahawks. But we said it at halftime that they would need a nearly perfect second half to erase that deficit that they were facing, CD. But unfortunately, the second half has pretty much been a carbon copy of the first.
Yeah, that early lead was almost insurmountable the way their opponent was playing. And partner, they do have some good news, though. This one is getting close to being over, and they can try and hit the reset button starting tomorrow.
And he'll go down for a loss inside his own 5 at the 4. A completion, yes, but certainly not what they wanted. A loss of a full 6 yards. Throwing again on second down. Prescott. And that'll be incomplete with just 6 seconds left on the clock.
So many times when we talk about coverage, we're just talking about a defender running with a receiver, but a big part of it is understanding where the football is, finding it. In this case, when it arrived, it wasn't a surprise, and he was able to bat it away.
One last shot now for Prescott. Oh, into a sea of defenders have intercepted. Darius Slay with a pick. And the Steelers are going to take possession of the football. Yet another mistake after the interception there. And, gosh, you look up at the scoreboard. They just got to be thinking this one cannot get over fast enough.
It certainly can't. And also what happens when you get this big of a deficit, you're supposed to make all the right throws, right? You're supposed to try and obviously give the ball to your own guys. But being down this big, you also take even more chances. And in this situation, that hasn't paid off for them at all.
On the other sideline, jubilation and laughter. So this one in the win column for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I tell you what, Charles, this might be about as good as it gets. They were incredible.
Yeah, offense was in fine form. The defense threw the shutout at them. I think they worked in concert together. What I like about the offense was they held the ball pretty well. You know, time of possession, exactly what they were looking for in this one. And that helped out their defense. Didn't have to be...